And we're doing it a little different today, my little Astara. I don't know if you saw my reel or not, but it's super cute. With that, InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. Hey, and did you hold the tone for the weekend to manifest your harvest in the fall? So now that we have entered the season of not only the spring, it's like the equinox is priming us up for our ultimately savory direction of who we are, I am. And we have the moon transiting Scorpio to start the season as well. So it's a double birthing, if you will. So myself, I am birthing new emotional boundaries along with I am acting in alignment with who I am, if that makes sense. The I am statements, right? But welcome to today's Daily Snippet. I am your host, a practicing holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon, merging these indigenous technologies, the spirit of the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso, with the subtle energies, elements, and elemental beings, basically from the elemental realm into the imaginal realm, the realm of magic, with offerings, rituals, and prescriptions to really add to the personal juice within your container. But my intention truly is to merge these indigenous technologies with the subtle realms, the etheric highway, the spirit that we are, to assist us into navigating our prime directive, also our inner genius, which I love. Really reintroducing you to and through the magical being that resides within. My name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. And also, if you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D, and hit the bell button if you don't mind so you're notified. And liking the video, sharing, etc. All that juice. It really helps with the algorithm to echo me out to like-minded musers out into the galactic universe, along with other social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and my musing podcast, Musing with Tonya D, which is super exciting. So the elemental highway, have you noticed that we are coming to this organic return? It's like this old, outdated model. It's as if it seems, the seams, literally, seams, like clothing, seams, stitching, it's busting out, you know. How do we stay aligned when the outer world is like this galactic movie that doesn't have any popcorn? Curious about the elemental highway? Want to discover your innate nature, or at least explore it? The elemental one. So my Voices of the Otherworld, my immersion, the elemental nature highway, that's what's coming up next in Voices of the Otherworld. It's unique to each and every one of us because we are all vibrating from our own authenticity. So life really is a cycle, just like nature. We have the birth, the adolescence, the adulting, or possibly not, maturity, and also wisdom. And we are also born into these seasons. So what does that even look like? So an old soul would be somebody who is already born in a season of wisdom when they landed in the earth plane. So each elemental has those seasons as well. So it really is super fascinating. But if you feel the call, join me, because we have them all loaded as replays as well in the links in the show notes. Plus, I have some super juicy add-ons, images for those of you that are visual like me on those replays, but I will see you on the other side for that. Anyway, but being that we are in the first stages of the Aries season, which is super exciting, I found this little baby, which I love. The angelic being for the season that's online for the entire Aries season, plus some bonus ones too that we can call in if we need to have the feel to call in an angelic being. There's no rules, right? But we have Archangel Ariel, which reminds me of the Disney Ariel, the mermaid. But Aries being the season of birth, it's birthing. It's perfect that it births on the spring equinox, Astera. Did anybody do any rituals for this spring? Lots of juice birthing out here. But what's so magical about Ariel? It's actually a perfect resonance for the season of Aries. It's like clean, springy energy. So it's like this nature angelic being, which is associated with one of my favorite realms, not just the elemental, but also the fairy, the fae. So isn't that just an otherworldly energetic fit? It's just strongly associated with baby animals, the outdoors, nature. So you too may feel an affinity with all of those parts of life. Also, Aries as a sign in astrology, if it's in a strong position in your chart, the sun, the moon, the rising, or Mars himself, you too might have a strong affinity to animals, nature, the realm of the fae, etc., which I find curious. My sister was born in the season of Aries, and she is a vet. So she takes care of animals, the elementals there, totally connects with nature, big animals, horses she prefers. But no matter where you have the season of Aries in your chart, planets in that sign, this one really exudes this innocence of children, the birth, the innocence of nature. So this is the area of our chart, our pie in the sky, where the song Forever Young comes to mind. I can see who sings it, but I can't remember. Oh, shoot. I wanted to look too. But either way, it's where we are spontaneous. It's where we are willing to go, where angels fear to tread. And if so, you realize that there is no place that angels won't go. So if you need them to be with you, or the fae, or any elemental, really, nature is always by our side continuously. So are these planets. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how the energy of Aries works in this season, and to think a little bit more about the spring. And it really doesn't matter if you are in the northern or the southern hemisphere. Spring really is the birth. It's the renewal. It's our hope. It's this cleansing state, whether we're going to do some galactic spring cleaning of the home or the body, because the body is the home of the spirit, right? So you could do the cleansing of the soul, the karmic path, the cleansing of the mind, getting rid of the negative toxic thought debris. So there's all kinds of cleansing and birthing and transformation and change, and it's just bubbling and budding and blooming, because the world really is full of these promises that come after the cold chill of the winter. So our slate is kind of clean. So just taking a walk in nature can really lift our spirits out to the heavenly universe, the sky, right? So Ariel and Aries, they really encourage us to take off those winter layers, get back out into the natural world, and wherever this is playing out in your chart. This is where we tend to slough off the past and breathe in a breath of fresh air. So even if you have Aries in a strong position, you just might be that breath of fresh air, or maybe you have a bunch of planets in your first house. It's the house of I am, so who you tend to be out in the world. So Ariel, which I love, is also an angelic ambassador. What does that even look like, right? So this is like the divine magic, the miraculous manifestations, which I kind of like that, right? So it's just reminding us that anything is possible. So if we're to really approach life, the earth plane, with like the innocence of childlike wonder, like really watch children, they're magical, right? So when we have that kind of approach, we can literally work wonders. We can work the miracles. So if you too have a strong aspect to the season, you are the one who reminds people that they are really doing great, and so are you, which that's my motto, right? We're all doing great. So then you can do whatever you put your mind to. So no matter what's happened in the past, there's no reason to give up, even if life feels to be full of obstacles, challenges, and whatnot. But Ariel can assist us with relationships, because one of her own magic, her own light, her qualities is to bring communication, to really assist us to shake off the illusion that we are separate. So she's definitely right, just saying, I am connected, saying that out loud will bring us to a state of peace, a state of neutrality, because we are all connected. We're interconnected beings, right? And she teaches us that this little lesson, it's important. It's important acumen, I guess. But on the cosmic highway, the planets, you might have already realized all of this, right? Because we're all together in this cosmic soup. It's just reminding us of the magic that resides within us, and feel the famous energy of Aries, the me, because that's kind of what Aries is, rising within us and being known for being self-centered sometimes. But the center of the universe is so galactic, it's infinity and beyond. So we're all part of the galaxy, star seeds and all, whatever that is. So if you feel as if you are the only one not connected, I would call upon Ariel to assist you from having your ego take over. And that is where kind of Mars is also the flavor of our charts. But for example, my Mars is in Libra, so it's not so juicy because it's in the opposing sign to Aries, right? So it's not so strong there. However, it is at a Martian degree, so I kind of have that Libran quality, or Aries, to fight for the justice of being fair and what's valued and what isn't valued. Libra, second house, that's kind of how it plays out. So fair play. If not, I fight like a librarian in a Libra kind of way. But Tune into next week's podcast, or this upcoming. I'm going to be musing about angelic Archangel Ariel, musing with Tonya D, the otherworldliness, Her Majesty Ariel. Kind of reminds me of the Cantombly, being in the other realm of nature, really. But Ariel is the lioness of God, and for fun, I grabbed this because I just finished the metal, elemental, mineral, elemental, in Voices of the Otherworld, but sigils. Create a sigil either in wax or the ground or whatever. Use earthly elementals. Be creative. And this actually is the sigil for Ariel, which I thought was super fun. You can find these online as well, but I was like, sigils seems to be my new thing to communicate otherworldly. However, the cards of the day, with Aries in season, grounding into our boundaries, Scorpio as well. The moon's in Scorpio and Aries, so I brought in the Shaman oracles, all the otherworldly. They are all otherworldly, I might say. They all came in otherworldly. So this is like messages from the heavenly realm. But the first message, beauty, way, which is a lotus. And the four on the card is where our heart belongs or does not belong acting. Like, where is the line before we react? But the beauty way is a path that we have traveled on, and also a daily ritual or a practice. So the path is where we choose to perceive only the beauty, the landscape before us, behind us, all around us, as we go on this journey through life on the earth plane. So the practice is where we take the action, which is Aries, to bring beauty to every situation that we are in. Even when things get a little bit ugly or fugly, if we act to bring integrity and peace to all the difficulties or adversities that we might encounter, the forces of adversity, when everybody else perceives the darkness and only the darkness, we can literally see the light, helping ourselves or others to uncover the hidden treasures that land there. But the medicine, because it's otherworldly, it's for us to stop trying to fix relationships that we believe are broken and really recognize things exactly as they need to be recognized in the moment, and just acknowledging the inherent beauty, the awesomeness, and what that really is. And when we understand this, we are then able to bring about the change that we want to see in the world, and not engaging in gossip about the darkness or the flaws of others. So gossip is actually a negative side of a mineral or a metal quality, the gossip. It's like how metal, scratchy metal. So it's kind of like being careful to not be seduced by the superficial beauty of something, even a relationship that you might be toying with, unless you're willing to pay a price for that later. It's like the cause and the effect, right? So those two sides of the same coin, seeing the beauty in all the sides. And then, hang on, I gotta scroll. There I am. Completion, which is a 9. I don't know if you can see the numbers on the card, but 9 is also an Aries number. So it's the action, the ego, the character, the behavior, who we are, I am kind of statements. Knowing that all things have a beginning, a middle, and an end for them to complete, or do they? Because sometimes I think about infinity, endless possibilities, right? But really, this is the nature of life. This is Ariel, the seeds, the flower, the fruit, growing from, they're blossoming, right? It's all these phases that elementals go through. So it's also all of our human relationships. So what this is suggesting is like knowing the fullness of the moment, and also the need to transform an old form into a new one, like a snake shedding skin, birthing new. But being that it too is otherworldly, which is way funny, it's like clinging to the old form that's only going to bring to decay. The old establishment, if you will. So it's like when fruit is left too long on the vine or on the counter, it's going to rot, right? I know the feeling. I do that with my bananas all the time. But this is a message that it's time to move on, even if we're being reluctant or resistant, and not be afraid of hurting anyone's feelings. Just remember that we are responsible for our actions, not the actions of others, and just kind of go through a grieving process of a mourning like the ending of what we've lost, so that we can move on. It's not time to be sad. Be like the sun that shines so bright all day long and then heads off to the next, I would say, the next aspect of the earth plane, right? It's not like the sun's not always shining. Oh, my boyfriend over there. It really is all perception, right? And to finish up with our cards of the day, hang on, I got a scroll here. La la la, Pachamama, which is curious. First we had the 0 and the 4 with the beauty way. Now we have 4 and 0, 40. So again, what boundaries do we need around where we do and do not belong? In the galactic outer world. That she represents unconditional love, and we are children of her earth, her environment, all of the elemental beings, which is awesome. The stones, the plants, the animals, humans, all of it, insects. So she really is the goddess of the earth. She's also sometimes known as Gaia. And she permeates, like, what am I saying? Yeah, she permeates all of creation like she does for all of the planet. So it's kind of like thanks to her that our timeless soul can experience life in this biological vessel, the body, the joy, the pain. So we can taste all of this essence during our brief time in Earth School. So the invitation is to discover the boundless love that she has. And the message and the medicine is, do we still believe that we have been cast out of the Garden of Eden? That we are motherless or homeless? So, do you suppose, a lot of this happens, and I think COVID was a great thing. We kind of have this idea that we have to work hard to survive or thrive. So it really is kind of a message to stop our suffering and to let go of that old myth and realize that we are each given our own Garden of Eden to rejoice in, to become the steward or the overseer. And maybe our melancholy is just really longing to return to the heart of Mother Earth, Pachamama, and just listen deeply to the mother who is always there for us. I would say Ariel, right? But walk in the beauty, right? And honor all of life. And then just circling back to the beauty way, to Ariel, and call on her today. Kind of the message is honoring Mother Earth and all her glory and all those elemental beings that reside here. And my boyfriend, Diddy. Whew. Okay. And then on the elemental realm, we have a Yin Water Rooster of a day, a Gui You. So on the month, that water there is a friend. So we've got some good water. We've got some good rooting there. Little root rot, though. We got a lot of water. But our day being Yin water, and that month, that's similar to a mist, if you will. It can come in the form or the shape of dew, rain, snow, really any form of water. It nurtures life. It's intuitive. I would say it's more psychic than intuitive, but it supports others to grow so they can reach their fullest potential. And of all the master elements, Yin water is the most yin, where yang fire, the horse, would be the most yang aspect, the rise, spring is the rise of the yang energy. But our Yin water is actually the most gentle, it's soft, it's flowing, and it gifts people with these people skills. People that are this kind of a day master, they look forward to hearing, it's water, ideas that are new to them, but they can also get bored really easy when it comes to the details. This day doesn't have any fire, so it doesn't have a lot of spark. But these people are highly perceptive. They also consider the needs of others first before the needs of their own, but they often keep to themselves. And being sensitive to other people's feelings, that's kind of why. Otherwise, sometimes they become angered or agitated when observing this because they're very observant, and they often draw to conclusions from the things that they see or hear around them. So consistency really isn't a thing that a Yin water person is good at. So they kind of have this unpredictability, and it kind of creates this mysteriousness about them, this mysticalness about them. Even though it's kind of a refreshing quality, some people become kind of fed up with kind of how temperamental, this is water, it is the moon, these people are. But they do think out of the box, they do think otherworldly. So oftentimes they're writers, they're storytellers, which the energy of today with the rabbit, that really is kind of the writing and the storytelling. Because they're free-flowing like water. So their thoughts are free-flowing, their thinking, their imagination is free-flowing. Oftentimes they're seen as weird because of their ideas that are otherworldly. But that's kind of their secret sauce, their secret to success. So even though they also have kind of a tendency to plot things or put things in a lot of effort into something. Sometimes it's unpractical for them because they're so otherworldly, and they also tend to waste up their time, kind of. So they have this they have a natural inclination for like training the mind as well. So they believe learning, if you don't continue to learn on the journey, it's kind of a sin on being on planet Earth, because they love thinking. They have this tendency to overthink, making them a little bit more anxious about a variety of things. But when they're at their best, they can like weather through any storm. They don't really conform to traditional ways. They're constantly looking for unique ways to solve a problem or resolve a problem. So, you know, people often can be their guide. They take a different route. They take a different flow. So often, you know, it does end well for the other, but it could also be a bad thing just because of being different. It often makes them more eccentric in other ways, more than they already are. So they kind of are like a drizzling rain that can come and can go. So if you fall under this yin water sign, you might find it hard to stick to something that you want. You're just constantly looking for things that are interesting to you. You might tend to change careers more often than the average person because you're in search of inner peace. Water is peace. It's reconciliation. It's getting in the flow. It's becoming clear about something. So this can provide new insights to solve all kinds of issues. But being how they can change interests so quickly, they really don't study things down to the detail. But I'm just looking at this chart thinking there's all this water, so there's a lot of clarity coming in. The rabbit and the tiger are like transforming, they're changing. And the rooster is giving like the sigil, the sign, the signal to communicate. So it's kind of in flow, but we probably do need some fire to warm up our day to balance out the water because there's so much of it, and take energy away from the rabbit and the tiger and earth, dry earth, which the fire would create, right? So these people they're great for, they go with the flow with arguing, but they're not abrasive because it's water. But they also know the art of distinction between what is success and what isn't. They are also debaters. They're great debaters because they have the ability to change how others think, just depending on their own educational story. But given, you know, yin water is pretty timid. It's yin, it's inward. So, you know, sometimes these people, they don't cower when they're challenged forces of adversity. They literally will step up to the occasion, and they're interested in trying out new things where they would never back down if especially they're dared to do something the challenge. But again, being that our water is weak because it's born in the season of the rabbit, and we do have a lot of water there, yin metal, which is our rooster, the rooster and the rabbit are actually in conflict, so we got to bridge that gap. That's the frequency of today. But it's like being very creative, very detailed, very idealistic. And they base their life choices on those things. So usually they're not very great leaders, which I find interesting, mostly due to their lack of focus, but they also can be inspiring. That's really one of their assets, is the inspiration with their ideas, which is actually where their strength is. And this one's not hidden. It's kind of out there because we got a lot of water. On the heavenly realms, it's just a matter of bringing it down into the earth plane. So they're kind of like fog out into the air. They're kind of rather mysterious again, and mystical and magical. But they are also moody. So they can snap just like a summer breeze, you know, or just downpours all of a sudden then disappears. So you just never know what's going to happen, kind of, in a way, especially when you spend time with them. However, today, fire would be great to burn off again some of that wood and create the earth, the ash. Springtime growth, you know, add a mist of water to those seeds, the harvest that we want in the fall. And again, the rooster and the rabbit, they're in opposition, so they are fighting. So I would soothe them with the fire. Yes, because it's going to burn off the rabbit. The water is going to make the fire not go out of control. And the earth that the fire creates is going to house the rooster, so we have our day flowing. But for the season of Aries, our root center is going to be in line, so it's a great time to ground into Pachamama. Start a cycle of eating healthy, a new habit, a new routine, exercise, a new career or job. Take the action, the initiative, ground into the element that you're most drawn to. That's what I do. I talk about the elementals in most of my online offerings. Love the skin you're in, change your stars, the otherworldly venues, the elemental voices. Just muse about that for the season of Aries, because our heart is actually online today as well. So really take the time, take the action for the needs of your heart, the queen in your chalice. So that's like wearing greens, anything that feels healing to your heart. You could wear reds, especially if you need to take an action or you need a boost. Do something like that. It's the action, heartfelt though. And the seed sound is Lam. That's the channel. It's going to be online all month long. If you're a chanter or singer, the seed sound, I would chant that to ground in your manifestations, to ground in that energy, because it is about manifestation as well. Physical manifestation. I'm just thinking out loud. Grounding, safety, security. It's the root. Or just saying, I am safe, I am secure, I am grounded, stuff like that. But we are going to be moving forward with our ideas, our messages, our essence, things like that, our actions, our behaviors, our relationship to ourselves, relationship to the other, you know, how we treat ourselves. When was your last pedicure? Fine dining meals, stuff like that. Treating yourself with kindness, peace, and love. So are you acting from a place of self-love to yourself, the inner realms? You know, I almost said rims actually, but that's funny. And just take notice of areas where you can take it up a notch on how you are treating yourself. Treat yourself how you wish to be treated on the inside, but do it from the inside first. Myself, I am in this exploration of where I belong in the world and where do I feel that I belong. Knowing where I belong really comes from the space within my middle heart, the heart space. The heart has a high heart, middle heart, lower heart, different aspects of the heart. But when we invest and take the time and the space into our own heart, our own joy space, then we find our place out into the world. We find that joy. We find those investments that come down to what we believe we deserve in doing something that we ultimately enjoy, like that foot rub or that pedicure or both. Just treating our feet, if you will, is a treat for us, right? So I'm just kind of musing out loud. So do something today that makes you feel super juicy on the inside and the out. Habits that are less than, you know, just pull that rug out. And when we restrict ourselves, we're restricting the flow of what really has the ability to come in. So it's like the wall between the good and the goodest. Taking time to see the wall, notice if the wall is a habit that is for you or against you, just being motivated by our heart, the juice, instead of being motivated by fear. So it's like, are we elevating our mission on earth? Because it's changing, right? And what is the innate behavior that we have towards ourselves? Is it supporting us or is it doubting us? If it's opposing, then what we're doing is in default. We're getting like we're going back to what a computer was, say in 1985 or something. Cell phones, I guess. The old flip cell phone. But that right there, that's kind of a factor. That takes us to the blast off for our heartfelt success. So we have to be on the opposing side, right? So that's why I'm always saying I'm doing great, and I do believe in miracles actually. But play in nature for the season of Aries. Connect with Ariel through plants, pets, the Fae. Do things that really inspire you or inspirit you. Simple things that are loving. Spread the love to your garden outside of yourself and vibrate from your heart today. Act from your heart. So those actions take a love-shaped form. So I would affirm I am replying in kindness, compassion, peace, joy, integrity, love to my heart self today, and take the high heart path, if that makes sense. And with all that, InShalla, Ashe, make it like a birth of a season kind of day, and I will, as always, see you on the other side. Blessings.